Hey Taurus, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. General readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. I've already shuffled this deck. I'm going to cut it in half now. We're going to take from the bottom of the deck. We've got 6 of Fire, victory. We're talking about a victory that pleases both you and everybody around you. Something that you will both be celebrated for, or there's a celebration of some kind here. And one person's win is everybody's win, right? It's like having a first order relative that wins the lottery. Not that I'm saying that's what's going to happen, but that's the sensation of this card, is that there's an energy here of what benefits one benefits all. There's a celebration, there's victory. Somebody gets what they want. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So over on Vimeo, I'm going to be doing relationship-specific readings. That worked out well for me last time. I enjoyed that. So we're going to do that again over on Vimeo. I do charge a small fee. It's just for a token for the energy exchange. General reading, take what works, leave what doesn't. This is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue? The environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Interesting. All right, 1 major arcana and 1 person. This is not the Aries reading, which was 5 people and a bunch of major arcana. So in the recent past, we have Page of Earth. This to me has come to mean, Page of Earth means like an actual child, an actual child or a younger sibling or something like that, like a younger person. In reality, right? We have Earth. It can also mean like someone who's just beginning a job, just beginning some kind of program, a beginner learning very tangible skills, right? So learning, Page is a beginner, and Earth is very tangible things, very, yeah. So here she's got her tangible apple in her hand, having actually grown something, starting to see the fruits of her labors. There's a very Eve quality to this one in this deck, which I think is important to note. A temptation. I mean, she's got horns and an apple. I've never really thought of the Page of Earth as a temptress or something that's very tempting. It's strange. A mischievous child, perhaps, or someone who's just learning, not a child, but someone who's just learning about what they can accomplish and what they can achieve, and getting the first taste of that in a very tangible way, like beginning a job or something like that. And then in your current situation, we have the Star card. There's a lot of hope here. Star is hope. It's the glimmer. It's the distant glimmer. There is reason to hope. There's a purpose. There might be messages from the divine about hopefulness. About a spring. Some kind of spring, some kind of new beginning. The Star card is sort of the page, is sort of the ace card in the major arcana. It's like there's a reason to hope, there's a reason to believe in this. There are early signs of growth. We have the first fruits in Page of Earth, and then the Star card, we have some of the first flowers of spring. These tulips, they're pretty early. They come back every year. There's something very reliable about this. There's something, yeah, the tulips, the irises are a traditional like divine messenger. And tulips are a fairly, not the earliest, but a fairly early sign of spring. Both of them are perennials. They come back yearly. They're both very reliable. So I think that this sense of hope is very reliable. There's Edelweiss here too, I believe. But there's reason for hope, and it's a fairly reliable message that you're receiving, right? It's a trust but verify, of course, but there's also like there's a solid foundation, And both of these, with the page of the earth and the star, I don't see like these aren't, like she's already grown the fruit. She isn't just the most beginnerish. So this isn't like just sticking your toe in the water of something. There's like, and this isn't necessarily first fruits, because what I'm seeing in the star card here is like prior fruits. There's hope, there's reason to hope for something, and it's not just a wish and a dream, because we have Page of Pentacles here, a very real beginner, very real beginner. And there's a good reason to hope that this is going to work out, or this is going to be a good thing, or this is going to be useful, this is going to be productive. There's something about reliability and already having done something like this before, or done something here before. This is like if you're, you know, you like to do plays, and you have every reason to believe that you'll be cast in a play again, that you'll be that you've learned a lot. Like this play may be new, but it's not, the whole idea of acting on stage isn't new to you. It's new, it's just a new play. Like there's something about this where you've already done multiples before. You've already done this before. There have been seasons before. There's a seasonedness to this hope. It's not the most foolish hope. There's reason to believe here. And there's a sense of, there could be blessings to being a blessing to someone. There's a lot of healing energy in the star card. There's something about this hope that's very healing. Not just for you, but for the people in your environment, right? I almost forgot about this card that we started the whole thing with. There's a healing in the environment too. This hope is healing for a lot of people. And then, okay, we have the page, the star, and the ace. This whole top row is about hope, is about reasons to believe. We have the ace of water, ace of cups. This is in your inner landscape. And I mean, this couldn't be more, it's like a real thing, and there's real reasons to hope here. And I think you're hopeful that your hope has a reason. Look, we've got this dove here, this hope and peace coming to land on you. You're hopeful. This is your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape. You want some sort of new beginning, some sort of reason to hope, some sort of reason to hope for growth. Like there's some part of who you are as a person that's starting to emerge, that's starting to grow, that's learning the pattern, learning the way to do something, and learning how to manage something, or learning something. And so the ace of water is sort of this gift. There's so much hope here, and there's so much beginning. The page, the star, the ace, right? The star sort of gets closer and closer and closer until it's the sun. Like I think the star is like, I'm kind of annoyed that this deck doesn't have it. I think the star is 17, the moon is 18, and the sun is 19 is what I'm, remembering here. So the star is sort of this like closer light or bigger light, right? Star, moon, sun. And so it's distant, but there's reason it's the distant sun. It's the sun that we see in the distance, not the one that rises up and is like here, and the blessing is here, and the blessing is now. This is like the hope for the sun to come, like the star, the distant sun. So we have reasons to hope, ace of water, reasons to hope. You're hoping, there's a lot of feeling here. There's a lot of joy here. There's something new that's coming in, sort of alighting on your hand here. So this whole top row has really great hope. What's at issue is two of water, some sort of separation, some sort of breakdown in a relationship, some sort of being separate from some sort of, this can be breakup. This can be just separate, apart from. This can be also just not having someone to share something with. And the whole point of the victory is to share it with others. And so that's what's interesting about these being on opposite sides of this reading, is the issue is that there's no one to share this with. And this victory isn't a victory meant to be celebrated solo. It's meant to be celebrated with others. And this is not with others, separate from others. for whatever reason. There are many reasons, good and bad and beautiful and ugly, to be separate from, you know, a loved one. This is a disconnect, an emotional disconnect. We have Ace of Water followed by Two of Water in reverse. So your hope is for peace, maybe reconciliation, maybe maybe hope, right? You have hope, and then we have like, yeah, but there's this disconnect. There's a distance between the two. So maybe you're hopeful that you'll get back together with someone. Maybe it seems like there's like signs of that. There's something's been very real in the past, and then we sort of go into like hopes and dreams, from this reality into hopes and dreams, and now we see this separation. So all of this beginning energy, and then the two, once we start getting going on it, though, there's like disconnection. It's interesting because this Ace of Water here is a mermaid sort of in the hand of the divine. Like there's hope here, but it's also out of your hands, I want to say, or like it's being handled. It comes from the divine. It's not under your control. That's why it's a hope and not like a, like this has more guarantee energy. But then we go from guarantee and certainty and reality into like this more ethereal hope. And hopes and prayers is what we end up with here. And then we have the mermaid, and then we have two mermaids separated here. So two mermaids are not together right now. So disconnect, you know, if this is like a work reading, there's just a disconnect. You're not doing what you want. You're not where you want. You don't have anyone to share your victory with. You have a lot of hope for victory, but no one really to share it with. You might not have like a close friend at work, or you might have had a falling out with someone at work. There's just separate, there's separate energy and a not sharing. In your environment, you have Five of Air. Five of Air here. This is Five of Swords. This one has like such a gossipy energy to it, or someone might be bragging or just looking out for themselves here. Five of Air in your environment isn't a pleasant card. No wonder you have a lot of hope, because this is not no bueno. Like this is like the reality. The situation is there might be gossip, there might be very difficult choices, there might be someone having to choose themselves, having to choose their own path in something, and it's going to have a profound effect on you, but it's not your choice to make, it's their choice to make. And they may have a very difficult choice to make, but it is going to have, what they're doing and what they're saying and how they're acting does have an effect on you. It's all about them, though, is what I'm seeing here with these cards. This is all about them. This is their issue. This is their path. It really doesn't have, it's really not about you. It's about their perception. It's about how this person wants to have their life unfold. It's about their goals. It's about how they achieve their goals. It's not about you. This isn't about you. Oh, let me check my technology here. This isn't about you. This is about, right here you're looking for like a joint, like your victory is my victory, and here someone's like, actually my victory is my victory, and it's not going to be your victory. And so someone may have some difficult things to say. Someone may choose to prioritize themselves over the group, and here we were hoping for the group to win. There might be some difficult things. Someone might be making difficult choices, and I want to say with this card, these choices are very difficult for them to make as well. I mean, this looks like some sort of bliss, but there might be an announcement or something that kind of haunts you or is difficult for you to absorb. You don't like it. It affects you. And that's not to say that this person made this choice or this decision lightly. Like if this is like a breakup or something like that, or just a separation, this person's in a mode of having to choose their own life and having to make their own decisions that work best for them. And these might be difficult decisions for them to make. So just because they have a negative effect on you, sometimes I think we can project onto people that make difficult decisions in their lives that they don't like us, they don't care about us. No, they might very well, but the decision has to be made, and we all end up having our own lives. So they're not they're not in a situation where they can prioritize you. They're in a situation where they have to prioritize themselves, or they feel like they have to prioritize themselves. So you may not like the choice, you may not like the decision, but it has to be done. They may not be gleefully hurting other people. It just may happen that the difficult choices that someone else makes hurt other people just incidentally. Like, I don't want to say it's collateral damage, but that's a little bit of what it is. It's like, well, we had to do this difficult thing. It does affect you. Very sorry about that, but the choice had to be made. This could also be a situation where you're being forced to make difficult choices. You have a lot of hope for a lot of peace, a lot of love, but you may be the one making the difficult choices. It is, I don't want to say it's got a breakup vibe, but it does kind of have a little bit of a breakup vibe on some level, right? Because if a relationship isn't working for you anymore, you know how that feels. And you might care about that person immensely, but you can't stay with them forever simply because you care about them and you love them, but this is no longer part of your path. So, and then the other person is like, why would you hurt me like this? Blah, 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 but blah, blah, blah. always the one getting dumped. And so, but the other person may be like, this really hurts me, but that's just like, no, I did. Yeah, I take back what I just said about myself. That's not true, but it feels true sometimes. But yeah, so difficult decisions made, difficult decisions here. That's what we got. In your environment, people are making tough choices. And this could be work. This could be like, we got to lay somebody off. And it might, you might not like the decision. The decision to lay someone off and the decision of who they lay off. It might not even be you. It might be someone else. It might be your bestie at work or whatever. Like, it's just like, you just don't like the decision. Someone else has to make the difficult choices. These are difficult choices, and they're difficult for everybody involved. So your to-do list, to avere, ignore it. Pretend you don't see. This can be denial. I usually read this as denial, but it's also just got like a really strong ignore it vibe. Like, yes, this is precarious. This is like if difficult decisions are being made around you, if someone's decided to separate from you, there's a sense of denial. Like, you're just ignore some stuff. Like, we've got this whole like precarious situation. You're out on a ledge, but you are protected here. There's no reason to go. Don't change up your position. Even if there is like gossip or difficult stuff going around you, or someone makes a choice that hurts you, just ignore it. Or someone says something that you find painful. This is the advice. This is not, these cards, this work here isn't about like, for all time, always choose to ignore the some sort of difficult decision or difficult thing around you. This is like suggested for now. If someone says something, if something difficult comes up, just ignore it for now. Now, that is not usually, don't react. That's not, I'm splitting my sentences here, but don't react. Ignore it if you can. This isn't for all time and all situations. This is some situation. I think you're staying positive and you're staying hopeful despite difficulties in your environment. Almost impossibilities in your environment. You're remaining hopeful despite something that seems a little impossible. And it's not hopeful necessarily. Well, under the star card, I think, right, we have like a storm. You're out on the ledge. But look, you have this assistance around you. You have support around you, maybe unseen support. But you are supported here, even though the reality is that this looks a little precarious and a little difficult. You're meant to just stay in position. Maybe don't talk about something. If someone has something difficult to say, you don't have to respond in the same way. It's not so much denial. Well, it is denial in a way. Like, don't do anything, don't say anything, you don't need to talk about it. And I don't necessarily know why. It could be not giving attention to bad, negative things, not complaining, not trying to keep a positive attitude. You won't always feel this way. It's not always going to be like this. Change is all around you, a lot of changes around you. There's like a big, and this wind here is indicating maybe some communication or something coming through, or a change in direction. The wind is going to change direction. There are changes coming. There is change in the wind. So I feel like this is like, stay where you are. And yes, this is a little scary. Yes, this might be a little frightening to not respond or to not fight back. Obviously, there are situations in which you do have to fight back, but this is not one of them. Someone else might be in a situation where they're fighting and making difficult decisions, but you're meant to stay steady in the storm. And maybe even if you need to, close your eyes to the scary things. Don't look at the scary things that are happening around you. Just hold your hope. Yes, this is scary. Yes, I've taken quite a risk. Yes, I'm out on this ledge, but just, there's a sense of not paying attention to any of that. The situation will change, and you don't pay attention to the naysayers, to the negativity, to even a sense of having your foundation eroded. There's a sense of stay strong, stay here. This angel is helping you stay in place. This angel is protecting you from the wind. There is protection around you. Stay the course, stay in place. Do not act out. Stay steady. Stay steady here. And if you need to close your eyes to some sort of truth for now, that's okay. It's okay for now. There's a storm here, and you're meant to weather the storm without getting involved in an argument, without getting involved in the gossip, without getting involved in whatever difficulty is going on around you. And then possible outcome, 10 of water. Look at this. 10 of cups. We have Ace of water, 2 of water in reverse, 10 of cups. So there is, this storm blows over. There is, look, we were hopeful. I like how she actually has her eyes closed in this one. She's just feeling the hope. And there's a lot of eyes closed in these ones. It's almost like close your eyes until the storm passes and then open them. Because we're feeling hopeful. She's just feeling hopeful. She's not seeing any reason to feel hopeful. We could almost say in this Ace of water, you're also not seeing the dove. Her eye, I don't know if you can see it, but her eyes are closed. It's a very similar vibe, or maybe just barely open. She's peeping at the dove. She's peeking at it. Why does this dove look like it's got red painted toenails? I don't know. So, and then we have the solo here. We have the 2 disconnected here, but then we have the 2 coming together here. And what's interesting is we have a hummingbird here, which showed up very clearly and dramatically in the Aries reading. This is joined together. So this breakage in some sort of relationship, some sort of connection with someone, and this can be friends, relatives, lovers too, partners. This is like, ignore this storm, or this person's having to like make some difficult choices. There's this kind of a storm here, and these 2 cards have difficult energy, and this has you kind of ignoring it and weathering it and not taking it too seriously, and not changing your plans, and not responding to any sharp words. And then here we have this emotional victory. This is victory with other people. And we have these irises that were so present here that we were just feeling over here. This is like, there's reason to hope, and you will see that. That's this. There is reason to hope, and you will see that. We have the mermaid here, almost watching, this reunion. This is the rainbow after the storm. Here we have the storm, and then we have the rainbow after the storm. And we have this Ace of water also having a rainbow running through it. Right through here, we have this storm coming through, but we have reasons to hope. We have the rainbows. I don't know if you can see the double rainbows. After the storm, we have this joining and union, the rainbow after the storm. So this is almost like the promise that the rainbow holds, is that the storm, you're not going to be flooded out. There is this Ace of water. There is like storm energy here, but you're being held safe through the storm. You're being held safe through the storm, and then we make it through the storm, and there's every reason to have hope for that. There are messages over and over again that that you're going to make it through this storm and this difficulty. And then we have this lotus, these lotus flowers here. No mud, no lotus. That's the Buddhist saying. We don't go through any difficulty, we don't get any lotus flowers, because lotus flowers need a rich, thick, somewhat stinky mud in order to grow. So we have this bumper crop of lotuses here, this emotional blossoming and emotional growth. And I just love how we have the iris here and the star card, the reasons to hope. And then we have where we're going is yes. We're in the reason to hope. The messages that we were receiving, the reasons to hope that we were receiving, we now live among them. It's not just feeling them, it's seeing them, it's touching them. We were touching them before, but we weren't necessarily seeing them. We felt that there was a reason to hope before, but where we're going is seeing the evidence, seeing that reason. We get the rainbow after the storm here. So, and then here you are weathering the storm and almost not paying any attention to it or trying very hard not to. So let's get some synchronicity cards here. I'm like, on the one hand, I'm like, I want that hummingbird to come back out. On the other hand, I'm like, no one would believe that the hummingbird came out twice. But then I want the hummingbird because it's so exciting. But let's see what other synchronicities they have in mind for us here. Any synchronicities? Well, close enough. That's good. That's good. I like it. What else? Anything else? That's a good one. Okay. We have dragonfly, spirit. Look, we have the lotuses. And then we have this little itty bitty dragonfly, which I was noticing but didn't mention because it was like such a repetition. Let's see if we can get it to focus. It was such a repetition of the irises coming in here that we have this little dragonfly here. So we have a dragonfly, and then the dragonfly change. The situations change, right? We were talking about the winds of change here. There's a lot of change going on, and you're not to let it bother you too much. A lot of change going on, feeling maybe a little precarious in all the changes. Just try to stay steady. Ignore it if you can, as much as you can. Let the bluster, let this situation bluster and blow, and try to ignore it. There is peace coming. There is change coming, and you're going to weather the change just fine. But just don't get too involved in it, as far as like, you don't need to respond to every invitation to an argument. You don't need to get back at anybody. And then our prayer here. Oh, earnest elephant. Huh. Okay, same as Aries. Gentleness, temperance, goodwill. Pillar of patience and kindness. Bless my heart with your gentle nature. Yeah, and then we have like just this gentleness, temperance, goodwill. And this being gentle in a storm. So I hope that was helpful. Join me on Vimeo if you so choose. And we'll chat later. Ciao.